Hi, BookTube, it's Connie, and I'm here to do a little bit of a library book haul. So I've checked out a lot of books from the library. I've been missing in action for a little bit just because I've been reading so much and haven't gotten my shit together to do a video. I've been reading mostly books that I've checked out from the library, but I wanted to do a little bit of a haul of what I'm reading right now. So the first thing, and I've got to finish it because it's due back tomorrow, is If I Fall, If I Die, which is by Christie. And it's about a woman who's agoraphobic, and she goes back to her hometown of Thunder Bay, Ontario with her young son, and he's now just venturing out into the real world. She's had him inside as well. They order everything online. She won't even go to the door. He's had to sign for everything, and he's, I think, in elementary school, maybe middle school. I'm about 75 pages into it. I have to finish it because it's due. It's actually due today by midnight, but since the library's closed tomorrow, as long as I get it to them before they open on Wednesday, I'm good. The other book I've got from the library is called Dog Run Moon, which is by Callan. It's a collection of short stories. Both of these books I saw on, not Lauren, Mercedes and Eleanor's channels. They were recommended to them when they went to some book place. And Dog Run Moon, I so far not all that thrilled with. I'm not a big short story person, but I'll get through it. I don't like to not finish books. So the next one I've got, which is one of my new favorite authors. I just read A Man Called Uva, and Britt Marie was here for both of my book clubs. One had A Man Called Uva, which is this month's pick. The other one was Britt Marie was last month's pick for my other book club. And so I picked up Beartown. It's supposed to be a total departure from Uva and Britt Marie. So it has to do with a town that's kind of dying out, and they have this hockey team, and they kind of band behind, kind of like a Friday Night Lights type of thing with hockey, where they band behind this hockey team, and it brings them together, brings them hope, something along those lines. So that's another one I have. And then I've been seeing this all over, and I've been almost picked it up and bought it, but I've been trying to be good and you know, getting books from the library if I can get them from the library. Of course, I just spent almost $50 today at the Book Depository, pre-ordering 2 of the books that won't be available in the United States for a while, and one that I just can't find. But this one is The Orphan's Tale, which by Pam Jenoff, and it's a world. It takes place during World War II, and the only thing, well, it says 16-year-old Noah has been cast out in disgrace after becoming pregnant by a Nazi soldier and being forced to give up her baby. She lives above a small rail station which she cleans in order to earn her keep. When Noah discovers a boxcar containing dozens of Jewish infants bound for concentration camp, she is reminded of the child that was taken from her, and in a moment that will change the course of her life, she snatches one of the babies and flees into the snowy night. So I just thought that sounded really good, and I always like World War II era novels. My parents were, what are you doing, Lee? My parents were World War II era parents, so... now, of course, this is all over BookTube, and I've got to get this read by the end of the month. The Hate You Give. I don't think I need to tell you what it's about. It's by Angie Thomas. This, now I'm not a huge fantasy person. I keep trying to get into it, and I've heard great things about this. And it is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I know absolutely nothing about it, just that everyone's raving about it on BookTube. So it's a fantasy YA novel. So I'm hoping it'll be a kind of a quick read because it's actually pretty long. But I'm still doing the thing where I'm listening to the audiobook when I can't actually read the book. And I just found I had a membership to Audible. And if you're doing that, I behoove you to check out Playster. Playster is a streaming video You can do audiobooks, you can do music, but I did it just for the audiobooks. It's the same price as Audible, but I can listen to as many audiobooks a month as I listen to. Whereas Audible, for $14.95 got 1 credit, which was 1 book. So I think during the free month last month, I listened to like 3 or 4 audiobooks off of there. So right there, the $14.95 would have paid for itself. This is another YA novel, and I've heard a couple people talk about it. I've heard some mixed reviews, but because it takes place in Detroit, I wanted to pick it up, and it's called American Street. It has to do with a mother and daughter immigrating to the United States. I think the daughter was born here, so they allow her to come in, but the mother is detained, and the daughter has to go live with relatives that she doesn't know very well in Detroit. And I'm from Detroit. I live here in the Detroit area. Now this is one I'm not sure if I'm actually going to read, but I picked it up just because it kind of looked funny, and I've been reading some feminist writing, and it's called Feminist Fight Club, and it is by Jessie Bennett. It's an office survival manual for a sexist workplace, and I just thought it looked kind of funny, so I might just kind of skim through this. It's I just renewed it. I'm sure I can renew it again. It was sitting up at when I went to pick up my books that were on hold. And I also have several books that I got from the library in Kindle format. So the first one is The Night Circus by Erin Morganstern, which I've heard tons of things about but have never read. So I picked that up. I just renewed it. It's actually due back the 5th, but second one was a book I had checked out last year, but I hadn't gotten around to reading, which is Burial Rites. Oh, it hasn't downloaded. It's called Burial Rites. It's by Hannah Kent. It takes place in Iceland, and it's about, I don't know if it was the first or the last Icelandic woman who was on death row. I lived in Iceland for a year, so I like to read books that are about Iceland. This other one, none of these downloaded, so I'm not going to be able to bring them up, the covers. But the other one is Night Film by Marisha Pessl. I just kind of started listening to that in the car, the audiobook portion of it, on my way back from the gym this morning. And so here's Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. And then a new book that just came out that I'm really interested in reading. And of course I can't get this to go back. It's called The Chase Girls, and it's about 2 sisters. And I just checked that out digitally from my library as well. So I have a lot of reading to get done this month, but I've actually been cranking through the reading a lot more books than I've ever read. I think in April I read I maybe had a couple double-digit months a few years ago, but I'll tell you what, these audiobooks are really helping out because I'm able to listen to them to and from work while I'm in the car, and yeah, it's really helping me get through a lot of books. But I think in April I read 12 books. In May I may have read 14 or 15. And I think I read 12 or 13 in June. So, yeah. Anyways, that's my little mini, or not really mini, but my library haul and kind of a TBR of what I'm going to be reading in July. So I hope everyone is doing well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!